Hello.
Then, now,
Countdown to the queens.
Episode number 500.
forever.
Looks like hell froze over.
Without any more further ado,
Together.
let's jump straight into the show. Hello, Magna episode, I believe 150? Yes, of the TEW IX Challenge Run. We are here for ECW for the 13th of May 2025. You know, the Heatwave event is coming up in just under 3 weeks, I believe, because this Saturday it's a deadline, then it's Judgment Day, then it's Heatwave. So you've got a couple of weeks left on this end. Last week we did learn that Florence and Ruby Riot would have a last woman standing match at Heatwave, and at Deadline it will be an 8-man tag. It says at Heatwave here, that's a typo. It's at Deadline. At the Wyatt 6-7 against the OG Bloodline. We also started the Hardcore Championship tournament with the winner facing Kevin Owens to become the first Hardcore Champion at Heatwave as well. Otis defeated Moose and Brody King defeated Sheamus in the first round of that. And yeah, tonight we're going to continue that tournament with the next two first round matches. It's going to be Jake Something and Katsuyori Shibata, and it's going to be the first match of the tournament this week, which is between Dijak and Cesaro. Yes. And yeah, a whole lot more Rhea Ripley's in action tonight. Naomi teams with Shantae Washington once again to face off against the two Next Gen girls, and our main event is for the ECW Tag Team Championship as the Wyatt 7 defend, this time against Rey Mysterio and Pistolero. So any more further ado, let's jump straight into the show. We open the show up with the Bloodline coming out. Jacob Fatu makes his way out. Yeet Man gets his own entrance. You know, he yeets through the crowd and he stands tall with Solo Sikoa in the middle of the ring. He goes, ECW. Last week, our family was put into question. Last week, the mind games of Uncle Howdy and the Wyatts tried to get us down. So we had to stand tall. We had to fire that next shot, and we laid out the challenge. It's going to be us against the Wyatt 7 at Deadline this Saturday. Now, our family, you know all about our family. We've had our issues up and down, wherever you go. The Bloodline have argued, but one thing is for sure. We stand here tonight united. We stand here tonight as blood. Closer than ever after all the battles we've been through by each other's side, against each other. As a Samoan werewolf, I'm supposed to wear this on my chest. I'm supposed to be different. I'm supposed to be better. I'm supposed to be stronger. But I need my family by my side, and I love my family. Bo, I'm so terribly sorry what happened to you. And of all the 7, I'm terribly sorry what happened to you too, for your lives to have taken you down this path. But what you're not going to do is try and rip us apart. Many people in our own bloodline have tried to do that. Many people outside of our bloodline have tried to do that, and it ain't that damn thing worked since. And at Deadline, you bring your found family, I'll bring my blood cousins, and we'll go to war, and there'll only be one group left standing at the end of the day, and that's gonna be the Bloodline, 'cause we're all gas, no breaks with it. Yeah, I mean. And then the lights sort of dim, and on the Titantron we see Uncle Howdy taking a seat in a dark, smoky room, as like the Wyatt 6, like dun, 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 just plays in the background. And he goes, Jacob, you want to know something? You're strong. You are. In many ways, you could be a great champion. Because you're the Samoan werewolf, you're dangerous, and you're powerful, and you're dominant. But one thing you're not is a great leader. You see, ever since you've been here in WWE, you've been taking someone else's orders. Your cousins. Your family. Whether it be Roman Reigns or the Usos, Solo, The Rock, even Seth Rollins. You're a lost little puppy, you're not a werewolf, Jacob. Nobody can spot those kind of behaviors better than I can. That's how I built this family, this group of misfits who weren't supposed to fit in, who were told our lives, our careers were over through circumstances out of our own control. Whereas your family members get to keep walking in here, getting opportunities after opportunities after opportunities, and it's starting to have effect not just on your family, but on everybody else around you. See, look at this guy, and the camera pans down, and Warden is just like laid out at the bottom of the chair. Goes, you see, Warden, for many months last year, he tried to rip your family apart, and he didn't get the job done, because in the end, you stand tall with his championship, Jacob. But Warden is a weak man. Warden is somebody, quite frankly, who could need guidance. Because he got left and used and abused again by your family. But we're a unit. The Wyatt 7 is a unit. When we are the tag team champions, all of us are the tag team champions. And Jacob, when I become ECW champion, we'll all be ECW champion. But before then, we've got Deadline. We got my family against yours. See you Saturday. And don't forget, run. We then cut backstage. Ava is in her office with Aussie Open. She goes, boys, Kylan, I saw you on Friday night. You had a great showing, your singles match against Ilya Dragunov, and I was just checking out, with the deadline coming up fast, it's time to finally finalize our last few signings for ECW, and we'd love to have you guys on board. In fact, we're going to, make a little deal to you. If you sign with ECW, you saw the Labyrinth here recently. I said the same thing to them. Next week, there's going to be a 4-way tag team match, and you get to be in it, and if you win that, you get the chance to go to Heatwave and wrestle for the ECW Tag Team Championship, whether that be against Pistolero and Rey Mysterio or the Wyatt 7. And Kylan Rodgers sort of like, well, and then Brad goes, that's great, we'll take that. We've been looking for an opportunity to break out, without Jericho around, we've been looking for an opportunity to get our own feed in here, so yeah, we're going to see it. We're gonna join ECW. Then Baron Corbin also walks in. He goes, Ava, you want to see me? He goes, yes, Corbin. It's great to hear that you also, open a joining ECW as part of this transfer window. And then Kylan is like, is he getting a championship opportunity too? And he goes, title opportunity? What have you given those title opportunities for? And Ava goes, well, because we already have the tournament bracket set up, as well as, the ECW World Championship. We can't just get world title shots. But I'll tell you what. If you can find a tag team partner on the ECW roster, next week you can be a part of that 4-way as well. And then Corbin goes, great, so I've just got to find a guy. That shouldn't be too hard, right? $78. Cesaro versus Dijak, the first match of tonight in the Hardcore Championship tournament. Cesaro defeats Dijak in 14:33 with a sharpshooter, 77 for Cesaro, 81 for Dijak. So yeah, Cesaro does advance. He will face the winner of Shibata and Jake something later on tonight, next week. And then the winner of that will face the winner of the other semi-final the week after, and then the winner of that goes to Heatwave to wrestle Kevin Owens. We then cut back to Kelly Kincaid with the Messiah and his apostle Apollo. And Kelly goes, last week, Moose, we saw you get involved in Sheamus is his tournament match against Brody King, and you end up costing Sheamus in that match. But then later on in the night, Sheamus came out and he cost you against Otis. So, this thing between you and Sheamus is still ongoing. You just see this ending anytime soon. And Apollo sort of puts his arm out and he goes, Kelly, watch your words when you talk to the Messiah. You see, the Messiah did what he had to do. He had to stop that treacherous, sinner scumbag Sheamus from advancing in this tournament. But quite frankly, that's That's Kevin Owens' bit. Quite frankly, Kelly, what Sheamus did last week was give us a favor, because a fat, disgusting slob like Otis embodies the spirit of being hardcore and brutal and doing all that sinful stuff out there more than the Holy Moose could ever. So you let Otis advance to become a hardcore champion. Moosiah doesn't have interest in that. The Moosiah has interest in liberating people and freeing your mind and your soul. And Sheamus proved last week that he was one of the biggest sinners of all. You see, recently Sheamus said something that perked mine and the Moosiah's ears up. He reflected back and he wants to bring the fight to the Moosiah. But not only does he want to bring the fight to the Moosiah, Kelly, he wants to do a 7 Deadly Sins series. Now, the last guy we had to put down like that was Karrion Kross, and we showed the world what a sinner he was. And Sheamus, if you want to prove that you've got what it takes to stand toe-to-toe with the Moosiah, not once, not twice, not 3 times, 4, 5, but 6, but 7, then you must know what you're talking about. Because we punish the weak. And once this series is over, you're going to end up just like Karrion Kross did. An afterthought. Forgotten. The end of an over 15-year career here in WWE, just like that, because you thought you could step to God. Video package. You know, these two have been feuding basically since, on and off since like September. So, you know, we know, we nothing really else for them to say at this point. Get a heat wave. It's Florence and Ruby Riott, last woman standing match at Heatwave. We then cut to Gorilla. Naomi, she's locked in. He goes, where the hell is she? And then Shantae walks in. She's like, she's ready to go. She's in her gear and stuff. She's ready to fight, but she's like, you can tell she's still a little bit injured. She goes, where the hell have you been? Because, you know, the doctors actually, before we came out here, wanted to check on me one last time, you know, check if I was good to go. She goes, and? She says, well, I managed to do some talking around and convincing them that I'd be fine. So I'm good to go. It's okay. But all that matters to you is that I'm cleared and ready to fight tonight. And he goes, good. Because I can't have you out there making me look like a bitch, okay? I beat these heifers every single week since I told them what was going on. And they ain't going to have to proceed with caution if you're out there messing things up for me, okay? So if you don't feel like you're up for it tonight, just stand on the apron and let me do all the work. And Shantae goes, are you crazy? I've been dying to get back in the ring. You know, it's been like a month since WrestleMania, and I was supposed to get my chance opportunity, but somebody took me out. And you're telling me that somebody is on that other group across from the ring from us? Then, yeah, I want to fight. 78-way tag match. Naomi and Shantae do get the win. The story, you know, Naomi starts, of course, you know, because she's... I don't want to say feigning, you know. Maybe she is actually genuine, but... She, like, tells Shantae to start on the apron because, you know, she's hurt. And then she takes the fight to Tracy and Samantha by herself for a little bit until eventually, obviously, she's outnumbered. She's basically fighting a handicap match at that point. And Shantae does open her arm out for a tag. And Naomi sort of looks across at her, like, gives her, like, a stern look, like, hey, what the hell? What are you doing? And then, eventually, the tag is made. Shantae comes in. She starts running wild. You know, she's pouncing people. She's, you know... going all crazy, the crowd's getting all fired up, seeing Shantae in this match. If she gets Samantha Riggs up for that powerbomb, she nails that powerbomb, and then Naomi tags herself in. And it's like, get out! Get out! And she goes, oh, I was really getting back in the zone, okay, but sure. And then she gets back onto the apron, Naomi hits the split-legged moonsault and pins Samantha Riggs. 78 for Naomi, 70 for Shantae, 69 for Tracy, 62 for Samantha Riggs. Yes, sure. And Naomi now has defeated every single member of Next Gen, apart from one, of course. And after the match, she takes the microphone and she goes, look at that. 2 more of those Next Gen girls. Down. Out of my way. So let's take the facts. Let's check the past few weeks since WrestleMania, since I laid the law down on this division. Tracy. Beta. Samantha Riggs. Beta. Lucy Stryker. Beta. Big Nene, you attacked my best friend Shantae. Beat her. That means there's one more person left for me to beat. The slimiest of them all, the women's $1 million champion, Kathy Uncool. Okay, bitch? So get your ass out here right now and let's do this face to face right now, because I've still got a lot of fight left in me. And then Kathy does come out, she goes, wow, Naomi, congratulations, okay? Like, first of all, yeah, it's genuinely impressive that you managed to beat all my girls. Well, not my girls, us. We are a group, they're not my girls, you know, I don't boss them around. Unlike some people I know, not a million miles away. She goes, what do you mean by that? She goes, I'm saying, normally when, you know, somebody's in a grueling, even if it's a tag team match, you know, they don't really want to fight right after because, you know, they've put all their effort into a match, you know, they're worn out and they'll easily get beat by a fresh opponent. But you stood along in there and you let your injured friend Shantae do all the work for you. I'm sure you are still fine and good to go. Because I didn't let her do all the work for me, okay? She wanted to feel good, so I let her in the match. Okay, goes, yeah, sure, right. Anyway, it's fine. I've already beaten you 3 times, I believe. I'm losing count, to be honest. Every single time I seem to defend this battle seems to be against you, so... What's one more? Okay, sure. Sure, you're a little bit different now. You're very angry, you know? You're not glowing like you used to, you know? But... Okay. Heatwave. I would have loved to give Shantae her rightful $1 million championship match if she's healthy, and of course she did win tonight. Because, bitch, you gotta be out of your goddamn mind. Okay? I've been winning every single damn week to get a shot at that championship, including beating every single person in your group, and you're still gonna duck me? And then Kathy goes, I don't know. Shantae did all the work tonight, so I feel like it's only fitting that... And then Naomi gets in her face and goes, you're scared of me? I mean, I get it. If I weren't me, I'd be scared of me right now, too. But let me tell you this. Shantae don't deserve that shot. She don't deserve shit. Big pop. Or like, ooh, whatever. And then Shantae sort of like looks at her like upset and confused, like, what the fuck? She goes, not like that. I mean, I deserve the shot, okay? WrestleMania was her time, and she blew it. This is my time now. And I'm telling you, Kathy, I'm getting the next shot at your championship. Kathy goes, well, as somebody who actually respects Shantae, and was quite disgusted, quite frankly, the way you just spoke about your own tag team partner just now, if it's going to shut you up, and you get to walk around here and no longer have this chip on your shoulder the way you do right now, even though you got beat fair and square at WrestleMania against a woman who had no time to prepare for you, because it wasn't fair and square, but continue. Then, at Heatwave, Naomi versus Kathy Cool, one last chance for this $1 million championship. But please promise me something, Trin. After I beat you again, you can stop all this conspiracy talk, and you can stop all this trying to get the championship back, and you can be a good friend and be by your partner's side. Okay? Because I see what's going on here. I'm sure she sees what's going on here too. And as somebody who I respect a hell of a lot, and, you know, just genuinely one of the nicest people in the locker room, she doesn't deserve that. And she just gets out of the ring and leaves. And then he goes, bitch, you gonna tell me how to act? I'll act how the hell I want, because you want me to change back to the way I was when you beat me the last 2 times. But that ain't gonna happen. This is the real me. See you at Heatwave. And kiss that title goodbye. But then cut back to Ava. She's with Angel Garza. You know, she's signing Angel Garza on to ECW as well. Because basically ECW has a lot of people I've moved over on my spreadsheet, but haven't debuted yet. And we've got like an episode of ECW and a paper. Actually, that's not technically true, because there are people I'm going to announce that have signed to ECW that won't debut for a bit. But hypothetically, in theory, for mid-carders like Angel Garza, we have 2 times to get them on TV before the deadline. So Angel Garza's here. He's also signing to ECW. When Austin Theory walks in, and he goes, Ava, I understand this transfer window is supposed to be this big thing here in WWE, but what are you doing wasting contract money on guys like this when you've got the real future of the industry on your roster already and you're neglecting him? She goes, how can I help you, Austin? As well, after the way that I beat, you know, that guy, I feel like I need to take my next step. You don't put me in this hardcore championship tournament, that's fine. Because I want higher, I want Jacob Fatu. And Ava says, well, you know, one win over, and Phoebe's like, nope, don't. He goes, why, what's the matter? If you're so much better than he is, surely you won't mind me saying, no, don't, Ava, I'm good. I'm just saying you need to start respecting your young talent around here. Because trust me, I saw the future. And I'm on top. And you know who ain't around? You know who's never showing his face around here ever again? Joe Hendry. And then Joe Hendry's pops out something backstage, like a crate or something, one of them production crates. And like even before, you know, they say his name and he appears, I believe in Joe Hendry bit ends, he jumps onto Theory and the brawl starts. And as they're brawling, he's just like going, I believe in Joe Hendry. And Joe Hendry's trying to get his hands on Theory. Theory scurries away. Because yeah, that's right, you better run. You better run. I ain't going nowhere. I'm always around. I'm always lurking. You just have to say my name. We then get another Uncle Howdy video. This time, though, he's not talking about the Bloodline. He's talking about the main event tonight. It's him and Eric Rowan against Rey Mysterio and Pistolero. And he goes, in all my focus on Jacob and the Bloodline, don't think I forgot about you. You see, when I was an aspiring young man in this business and my brother was by my side, a lot of my difficulties of my career were brought on by our legendary family name. A lot of people see it as an easy pass into this industry, but a lot of people see it as a curse. And that curse led to people handicapping our potential, saying, oh, he's just Mike's kid. And that's a hard stigma to shake. Ray, you're no better than anyone else. You are a hero to these people. You wear a mask to hide your face, and is that because you can't bring yourself to look yourself in the mirror, to know the monster that you've created? You brought your son into this industry, but years of resentment and abandonment and hatred and disdain have turned him into who he is. Ray, you spent too much time trying to be a hero, painting yourself as a virtuous good guy to all these people, that you overlooked those closest to you. You made your own family resent you, and you can stand by the side of as many young luchadors looking to guide them to the top as you want, Ray. Nothing will ever bring that back. That's a guilt that you're gonna have to live with. As your son continues to look for guidance, he continues to look for that father figure, but Ray, it ain't you. It ain't you, Rey Mysterio. Because the whole world knows now what Rey Mysterio is. And that's an adrenaline junkie. That's somebody who's too addicted to this that he lets his own family life fall apart. We'd never do that. We do all of this for our family, for Brody, for Bray. You do this for yourself, Ray. Isn't it about time you gave back? $67. Yeah, Shibata's still really not over, but, you know, he's a beast, so I'm going to keep using him. Jake Something, though, does pick up the win. Maybe his brawling stats also not that good because he's declining, but yeah. Jake Something defeats Shibata to advance to the semi-finals of the Hardcore Championship Tournament. He'll face Cesaro next week, so the semi-finals are now set It'll be Otis against Brody King and Cesaro against Jake something. You know, what a collection of 4 human beings that is. But yeah, you know, with Sean Spears by his side, Jake something has taken over ECW in his short while here. Can he be on quest to be the first hardcore championship? And also, by the way, this episode of ECW would be the first episode of ECW in-game to air since Sabu passed. So we can now announce that this is now also the Sabu Memorial Cup. And the winner, along with the Hardcore Championship, wins the Sabu Cup, which may or may not end up being a yearly Hardcore Championship traditional tournament on the ECW brand to commemorate, you know, one of the most influential hardcore wrestlers of his time and of ECW history. So yes, this is not only for the Hardcore Championship shot, this is also for the Sabu Cup. You know, Kevin Owens could win that despite not being technically in the tournament, but it is what it is. Then see Zoe Stark. She's in her suit. She storms into the women's locker room. No, she's not. She's already in there. She's chanting Ivy Nile. She goes, as you see, I've already managed to get 2 names to agree to this. This is my coup to reset things here on ECW, okay? I know people want to see extreme, but extreme doesn't mean former MMA fighters shaking their ass for the camera. It doesn't mean women coming over here from Japan and shaking their rack in front of the camera. It means women being women's wrestlers and being badass. And you, Ivy Nile, you're a badass. You look like somebody who can agree with this sentiment. And Ivy sort of just looks at it and goes, huh, maybe. And she just walks off. She does have a match coming up next. And she sees Thunder Rosa. She goes, and you, Thunder Rosa. A great career you've had wrestling, almost 20 years in the business, but yet you come to ECW and you enable a degenerate like Lola Vice to make a mockery of this industry. And then Thunder Rosa goes, say what you want about Lola, but she's a badass. She's a legit fighter. She can kick your ass any day. And Zoe goes, this is the problem. This is the problem. You saying all these things about Lola. She may well be this tough MMA fighter, but she doesn't want to just be a tough MMA fighter. She doesn't want to be an empowering role model for all the girls watching at home. She wants to be somebody that the male eyes can look at and go, that's my favorite wrestler. That's not what I want to be. I want this place to be real. I don't want this place to be a mockery going back 20 years to what it used to be, okay? I'm a real wrestler. You're a real wrestler. And you are a sellout. And you embarrassing. And you disgust me. And what about you two? And Shotzi and Hamza are sort of in there. Shotzi goes, listen, I've not been happy here for a long ass time. My career's not exactly going the way I want it to. But, you gotta chill out, dude. And she just walks off. Hams follows Shotzi out as well. So he goes, yeah, well, I already have some names on here. Some people agree with me. Then see Baron Corbin approach Dijak backstage. He goes, here you are. Just the guy I've been looking for. So, I'm here on ECW now, and I spoke to Ava, and she said that if I could find a tag team partner for next week, we can be in a Fatal 4-Way Tag Team Championship Contenders match for the chance to go to Heatwave and wrestle for the Tag Team Championships. And back at WrestleMania in that Battle Royal, you and I, we really hit it off. We were unstoppable in that match. It got me thinking, what if you and I, 2 titans, 2 skyscrapers on this roster, were to team up? Your career's not really going anywhere right now. Neither's mine. Maybe alone, we sort of can't really stick it anymore. But together, you and I, Baron Corbin, Dijak, there's not a single tag team I can't imagine that we couldn't destroy. And Dijak takes his stupid sunglasses off, he's inside, and looks at him in his face, and he goes, I see what you're putting down, Corbin. That does sound like a dangerous partnership. And Baron Corbin goes, should I let Ava know I found my guy? And then Dyer just gets in Corbin's face and goes, you found your guy. So yeah, Dijak and Corbin. I said they were coming together. Here they are. Here on ECW. That felt like the best place for them. The Raw and SmackDown scenes are sort of like crowded. Well, yeah, both are crowded right now. The SmackDown one's going to get even more crowded eventually. Soon. As in like a couple of days' time soon. And yeah. This felt like the best breeding ground. Like, look at the teams in this match. I think it's Corbin and Dijak, it's the Labyrinth, it's Aussie Open, and the Gorillas of Destiny. So, like, only the Gorillas of Destiny out of that lot are former tag team champions. They're all relatively new teams that didn't really exist a year ago. Well, the Labyrinth did, but in NXT. And Aussie Open did, but they were, like, jobbers in the learning tree. 74. Oh, okay. People didn't like this because I put 2-bar brawls back to back. Okay, but 74 still seems fine. Rhea Ripley beats Ivy Nile. We said last week Rhea will be in action here tonight. And she picks up the win with a Riptide in 8 minutes and 9. 88 for Rhea, 61 for Ivy. So Rhea, her first, I believe this is her first singles match on ECW. She picks up the win. She stands tall. When she's jumped from behind by Tatum. Tatum jumps on Rhea and starts attacking Rhea from behind. She's sort of like tears in her eyes as she's doing it, being up because, how could you do this to me? How could you do this to me? Did I ever mean anything to you? How could you abandon me like this? How could you, mommy? And she just gets up and walks off. Crowd boos Tatum as she walks away, crying, sobbing. We then see Kelly Kincaid is backstage. Otis is like doing curls with 2 weights. Shane Reynolds is there trying to hype him up. He goes, "Let's go, big man. You can do it. You can do it, big man. You can do it, big man. Come on, one more rep. We can go out to eat. We can go out to eat." And then Kelly Kincaid goes, "Otis, when you came over to ECW, many people were shocked to see you here on ECW, but you are 2 wins away from going to Heatwave and challenging for the Hardcore Championship. But you don't really strike a lot of people as a hardcore guy, but you showed out last week in your victory against Moose. And next week, we've just found out you're going to go one-on-one with... Oh, no, we found out last week. He's going to face Brody King, sorry. But next week, you're going to find out go one-on-one against Brody King, another big, tough guy that this tournament is looking to showcase here on ECW. Notice goes, "Kelly, when I came into ECW, it was for a fresh start. Now I'm still the same lovable guy I was for all those years. But now, I know that just being a big lovable guy ain't gonna get me anywhere. I've gotta be able to be a big lovable guy who can get down and dirty when he needs to, and I'm just talking about when, okay? Next week, Brody King stands in my way. And if he knows better, he's not gonna underestimate Otis. 'Cause I'm gonna boo-shakaloo my way to the finals. I become the first hardcore champion, and I'm gonna do it for all the people around the world who were written off as less than they were." Then Shane Reynolds gets them, he goes, "And Otis is gonna do that, and when he does win, he goes, oi!" Rhea Ripley storms into frame and goes, "Move." And he goes, "Alright, thanks, mommy, sure." And he sort of like lingers before he leaves, and she goes, "Go away!" And Shane Reynolds goes away, and she turns to the camera and goes, "Tatum, I tried to be nice to you. You want to attack me from behind, claim I didn't care. I did what I did because I cared about you, and I didn't want it to end like this. But for some reason, you've decided to take it to this level, okay? Well, fine. This is not what I wanted to do, but I guess you've left me no choice. Heatwave. You and Mommy aren't going to be so far apart after all. We will finally once again be together. That's what you wanted, right? Unfortunately for you, it's not going to be very friendly encounter. See you there, Pax." And she walks off. So had Rhea and Tatum one-on-one at Heatwave. Bang. Next week, we do have 3 matches set for next week's episode of ECW. The first, of course, being the 2 Hardcore Championship Tournament matches. The Sabu Cup, even. Sorry. Otis versus Brody King. They both won last week. via shenanigans by the Musiah and Sheamus cancelling each other out. They're going to go one-on-one in the Sabu Cup semi-final next. Well, technically quarter-final, I guess, because the final is against Kevin Owens. But yes, the next round of the Sabu Cup. Also in that, Jake Something and Cesaro are going to go one-on-one as they both scored victories tonight. Jake Something picking up the win over Shibata and Cesaro over Dijak. And speaking of Dijak, it is official. Him and Baron Corbin will team up as part of this fatal four-way next week to determine the next challengers for the ECW Tag Team Champions. It'll be the Labyrinth, it'll be Aussie Open, it'll be Dijak and Baron Corbin, and it will be the Gorillas of Destiny doing battle to determine who will face either Pistolero and Rey Mysterio or the Wyatt 7 at Heatwave. Because the Wyatt 7, if they are still champions, are going to be busy Saturday night at Deadline. I keep wanting to call it Countdown, but no, it's called Deadline. As it was announced last week on ECW that the Wyatt 7, Uncle Howdy, Eric Rowan, Kip Sabian, and Preston Vance will go 4-on-4 in an 8-man tag team match against the New Bloodline, the Uso, Solo Sikoa, and the ECW champion, the Samoan Werewolf, Jacob Fatu, ahead of ECW's very own pay-per-view event coming up 2 weeks after that, being Heatwave, and we've got 2 matches set for Heatwave tonight. The first, one last chance for Naomi to prove that she belongs and prove that she should be the $1 million champion. She goes one-on-one with the champ Kathy Cool for the championship at Heatwave. And just made official right now, breaking news from the Office of Ava. It is signed off, sealed and delivered. Tatum Paxley, Rhea Ripley, one-on-one at Heatwave. 77 rated main event. Sure, maybe a little bit lower than I would have liked, but, I don't really think the Wyatts are super over yet. Pistolero is godly, of course, he is Bandito after all, but yeah. Uncle Howdy pins Rey Mysterio, and he changed his finisher, so he stops using the fucking Bulldog. He pins him with a Sister Abigail in 17 minutes and 7 seconds to make defense number 1 of the ECW Tag Team Championship. Eric Rowan 56, 71 for Howdy, 72 for Rey, and Pistolero carrying this with a 93. So yeah, the Tag Team Champions retain. There's no bloodline here. Just the Wyatt 7 retaining the championships. They'll see the bloodline in an 8-man tag on Saturday night. And they are still the Tag Team Champions. And that ends ECW 76. ECW, more so than Raw, I had to go back and rewatch a couple of episodes to remember what the mid-carders were doing. I knew Moose and Sheamus were beefing, and I knew Theory and Joe Hendry were beefing. Christian wouldn't let me forget that one. But yeah, I was I had to refresh my mind, and I'm back locked in. This women's $1 million title stuff. I forgot where I was going with it. I remembered, and I was like, yeah, this is the only I wanted to get all this done, and a hell of a lot of other stuff. The Sabu Cup, all of it. ECW's riding quite fun right now. Nice little short, sweet show, I say, at a 37-minute recording. What matters more than what you thought of the show, do let me know in the comments below. I'll see you next time for SmackDown, the final show before Deadline, where SmackDown will have a Dakota Kai Candice LeRae rematch and a last match to be determined, because I think, don't hold me to this as strict, but the play most Saturday night's I keep calling them Saturday night's main events. They're in your houses. The first play for most in your house events will be 2 Raw matches, 2 SmackDown matches, and an ECW match. Obviously, because Raw and SmackDown are 3 hours. ECW's 2. The same like you used to do the draft. It was 2, 2, 1 to accommodate the extra time. But yeah, so that's probably going to be for the most part, unless there's 2 ECW matches I really want to do on the shows, then I'll find time to change them around. But just a little 5 match mini pay-per-view thing. I'll still try and make them somewhat important to watch, but I'll make them more important than Saturday night's main events in real life. Basically, things will happen on them. There's stuff that I've already got planned for the one on Saturday that I'm yes, this would never happen on a real life Saturday night's main event because nobody cares. But yes, I'm rambling now. See you then.